Hello viewers, this is K. Navin Kumar of BJC first year from TTWRDC main Nagar Karnool at Jetcherla, and today I am here to give a live lecture on alkanes preparations and properties in the subject of chemistry. And today let us enter into our topic. Before entering into our topic, just recapitulate about organic chemistry and hydrocarbons and their classification system. See here, what is organic chemistry actually? Organic chemistry is the study of carbon compounds, carbon containing compounds, and animals, plants and other forms of life. They consist of organic compounds as their constituent molecules, constituent particles, and some of the organic compounds are given over here. They are nucleic acids, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, enzymes, vitamins, hormones. These are all the organic compounds which are present in our cells and other living organisms which perform several physiological functions and make us live on this earth. And see the classification of hydrocarbons over here. What are hydrocarbons actually? Hydrocarbons are the simplest organic compounds which are composed of carbon and hydrogen only. They are composed of carbon and hydrogen only. Hence they are called as hydrocarbons. And then see the classification system of hydrocarbons over here. Hydrocarbons, based on their chain structure or ring structure, they are majorly classified into two broad categories. They are acyclic or open chain or aliphatic hydrocarbons, and cyclic or closed chain hydrocarbons. And again acyclic or open chain hydrocarbons are again classified into saturated hydrocarbons and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Again these saturated hydrocarbons are classified into alkanes, and unsaturated hydrocarbons are alkenes and alkynes. What is meant by saturation and unsaturation? Saturated means they possess single bond in between carbon and carbon atom in the hydrocarbons. In case of unsaturated hydrocarbons, we have alkenes and alkynes, and these alkenes they have double bond in between carbon and carbon atom in the hydrocarbon hydrocarbon. And alkanes they possess triple bond in between carbon and carbon atom. See here, again these cyclic or closed chain hydrocarbons are classified into alicyclic hydrocarbons and aromatic hydrocarbons, and these alicyclic hydrocarbons are again classified into saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. These saturated alicyclic hydrocarbons includes cycloalkanes. Cyclo means they are in the ring structure, and alkanes means they possess single bond in between carbon and carbon atom. And unsaturated alicyclic hydrocarbons includes cycloalkenes and cycloalkynes. Cyclo means they too possess ring structure along with double bond in case of cycloalkenes, and they have triple bond in case of cycloalkynes. And see here, the aromatic hydrocarbons are again classified into benzenoid and non-benzenoid hydrocarbons. In case of benzenoid hydrocarbons, they possess benzene ring. In non-benzenoid hydrocarbons, they won't possess benzene ring in them. And then after that, I would like to give a synopsis of alkanes over here. See here, alkanes are the saturated hydrocarbons. They are the saturated hydrocarbons. Saturated means, as I told you earlier, they possess single bond in between carbon and carbon atom, and they are aliphatic hydrocarbons. All the names of alkanes always they ends with N, that is ANE. And the saturated aliphatic hydrocarbons, in other words, they are alkanes, have the general formula of CnH2n plus 2. This is the general formula for alkanes. See here, This is the general formula for alkanes. And then because of their zigzag patterns of arrangement due to the tetrahedral geometry of sp3 hybridized carbon atom, due to the tetrahedral geometry of sp3 hybridized carbon atoms which are close together, which are nearer to together, they will undergo join up with the expulsion of two hydrogen molecules. By removing the two hydrogen molecules on each side, from each side, they will be joining up to form a ring structure. And such ring compounds are referred to as cyclic aliphatic hydrocarbons. They are also called as alicyclic hydrocarbons. In other words, they are also called as cycloalkanes, and which have the general formula of CnH2n. They have the general formula of CnH2n. And see here, alkanes are also known as paraffins. We can also call alkanes as paraffins. The name paraffin came from two Latin words. They are param and affins, which means by little affinity, and this name was suggested to these alkanes because these alkanes are inert towards reagents such as acids, alkalis, and oxidizing agents and reducing agents. They won't react with these acids, alkalis, and oxidizing agents and reducing agents. Hence, they are suggested with this name, that is paraffins, which have the little affinity towards these acids, bases, and oxidizing agents and reducing agents. However, under suitable conditions, when sufficient energy and sufficient light is provided, they undergo several reactions like halogenation reaction and pyrolysis, aromatization, etc. Many of these alkanes, reactions are proceed through the formation of highly reactive free radicals, and these free radicals are formed by the homolytic fission of molecules. We will see later on how this homolytic fission will takes place. And next to that, see the nomenclature system of alkanes over here. In this table, what we can observe, in the first column we can observe the number of carbon atoms, and in the second column what root word for the number of carbon atoms. In the third column we have IUPAC name. Fourth column we have the structural formula. In the fifth column we have molecular formula. If one carbon atom is present in a alkane, the root word will be meth and the IUPAC name will be methane. Structural formula will be CH4 and the molecular formula will be CH4 only. Then if two carbon atoms are present in a alkane, then root word will be eth and IUPAC name will be ethane. Structural formula will be CH3 and CH3. In ethane, two methyl radicals they undergo coupling reaction to produce a single higher alkane, that is ethane. And see the molecular formula of ethane over here, that is C2H6. If three carbon atoms are present, what is the root word? Prop. And the IUPAC name will be propane. Structural formula will be CH3, CH2, CH3. Molecular formula will be C3H8. If four carbon atoms are present, root word will be but, and the IUPAC name will be butane. Structural formula will be CH3, CH2 taken 2 times, and CH3. The molecular formula will be C4H10. If 5 carbon atoms are present, what is the root word? That is pent. And IUPAC name will be pentane. Structural formula will be CH3, CH2 taken thrice, and CH3, and molecular formula will be C5H12, that is pentane. If 6 carbon atoms are present, what is the root word? Hex. And IUPAC name will be hexane. Structural formula will be CH3, CH2 taken 4 times, CH3. Then molecular formula will be C6H14. If 7 carbon atoms are present, the root word will be hept. and the IUPAC name will be heptane, and the structural formula will be CH3CH2 taken 5 times and CH3, and then molecular formula will be C7H16. If 8 carbon atoms are present, what is the root word? Oct, and IUPAC name will be octane, and then structural formula will be CH3CH2 taken 6 times CH3, and then molecular formula will be C8H18. If 9 carbon atoms are present, then the root word will be known, and then IUPAC name will be nonane, and structural formula will be CH3CH2 taken 7 times and CH3, and then molecular formula of nonane is C9H20. If 10 carbon atoms are present in a alkane, then root word will be dec, and IUPAC name will be decane, and then what is the structural formula? Structural formula will be CH3CH2 taken 8 times and CH3. What is the molecular formula of decane? That is C10H22. C10H22. And see here, all the IUPAC names of these alkanes are ending with AN. As I told you earlier, they are ending with AN. That is ANE. And from butane onwards, what you can observe over here in this structural formulas, see here, they are written in condensed mode. Instead of writing long chains, we can also write those long chains in this condensed mode. After this nomenclature system of alkanes, see the methods of preparations of alkanes over here. In these methods of preparations of alkanes, first of all, we have the method of preparation of alkanes from Grignard reagent. See here, actually these Grignard reagents are nothing but alkyl or aryl magnesium halides, and these are also organometallic compounds. What are organometallic compounds actually? The organic compounds in which a metal atom is directly linked to the carbon atom are known as organometallic compounds. In these organometallic compounds, what we can observe? The metal atom is directly linked to the carbon atom. So they are called organometallic compounds. Examples are when acetylene is substituted with sodium metal in place of one hydrogen, it is a organometallic compound. When a plumbum is added to 4 ethyl molecules, then it is a organometallic compound. Why 4 ethyl molecules are needed? Because the valency of plumbum is 4, hence 4 ethyl radicals are needed. And when a zinc added to 2 ethyl radicals, 2 ethyl molecules, then it will be a organometallic compound. And why 2 ethyl molecules are needed? Because the valency of zinc is 2, and alkyl or aryl magnesium halide, that is RMGX, are also called as Grignard reagents or organometallic compounds. And Grignard reagent on double decomposition reaction with water or any other compound which have the active hydrogen, which possess the active hydrogen, they will give alkanes. What are active hydrogens actually? The hydrogens which are attached to the oxygen and nitrogen, oxygen or nitrogen or fluorine atom, or to the triple bonded carbon atom, they are said to be active hydrogens because they react actively. In the chemical reactions. Hence they are called as active hydrogens. Some of the general reactions are given over here for this Grignard reagent method of preparations of alkanes. When Grignard reagent treated with water, what happens? Magnesium hydroxy halide along with alkane are produced. How this reaction proceeds? See here, one of the active hydrogen in the water molecule, that is added to the this alkyl part, and it will be converted into alkane. Alkyl part is converted into alkane by taking one hydrogen from the water molecule, and then remaining OH part is added to this magnesium to form a complex compound, that is magnesium hydroxyhalide. This is the complex compound. And then see the second general formula, the general equation over here. In this reaction, what we can observe, when Grignard reagent is treated with ammonia, the active hydrogens, how many active hydrogens are present? Actually 3 active hydrogens are present in the ammonia, and one of the active hydrogen from this ammonia that reacts with the R part, that is alkyl part, to form an alkane, and then remaining NH2 part is added to this Mg metal, and then this complex MgNH2X is formed. And then see here another example we have where methyl magnesium iodide, when treated with water, it produces methane along with magnesium hydroxide, and when ethyl magnesium iodide treated with water, it produces ethane, and along with the ethane they also produce another complex compound. And then how this reaction proceeds? This reaction also proceeds through the same mechanism by taking one of the active hydrogen from the water molecule. And see here, whatever we take R group on the reactant side, that alkyl group will be converted into alkane on the right hand side, that is product side. See here, if we take methyl group on the left side, we will get methane on the right side, on the product side. If we take ethyl group on the left side, we will get ethane, that is alkane on the right side, on the product side. If we take propyl on the left side, we will get propane on the right side, on the product side. See here, this is the mechanism, Grignard reagents method of preparations of alkanes. And we have another method of preparations of alkanes by the coal-based electrolysis method. And a scientist called Kolbe, he proposed this method of preparation of alkanes. See the statement of this method over here. See here, alkanes are formed on the electrolysis of concentrated aqueous solution of sodium or potassium salt of saturated monocarboxylic acids. When alkanes are produced, they are produced on the electrolysis of concentrated aqueous solution of. Aqueous solution means what? The solution containing water. Aqueous solution of sodium or potassium salt of saturated, that means in between carbon and carbon atom they possess single bond. And monocarboxylic acid mean what? They possess single carboxylic acid functional group. And on electrolysis they gives alkanes. See here, what we have on the left side, that is reactant side, we have a sodium salt of carboxylic acid present in the aqueous solution on electrolysis, which gives alkane along with CO2 at the anode. At the cathode, what happens? Sodium hydroxide, 2 moles of sodium hydroxide is produced along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. And electrolysis of an acid gives symmetrical alkane. Acid salt may give symmetrical alkane. However, in case of mixture of if mixture of carboxylic acids are taken in that reaction, all probable alkanes are formed. See the general equation, reaction over here, in which R1COOK and R2COOK, the potassium salt of two different alkyl groups. The potassium salt of carboxylic acids are taken over here with the two different alkyl groups, that is R1 and R2, and on electrolysis in the presence of aqueous solution, they will produce R1 R2, that is unsymmetrical alkane, and then along with the alkane, what is produced? CO2 at the anode, means carbon dioxide is released at the anode. And then at the cathode, what happens? Production of potassium hydroxide and liberation of hydrogen gas occurs at the cathode side. And along with these R1 and R2 alkane, R1 and R2 alkanes may also produce it. There may be a probability to produce these kinds of alkanes also. See here. And then we have an example in which 2 moles of sodium acetate is taken in the aqueous solution. On electrolysis, it gives ethane along with CO2 at the anode side, whereas at the cathode side, NaOH and hydrogen gas are liberated. NaOH and hydrogen gas are produced at the cathode side. And the mechanism for this chemical reaction is given over here. The ionic and free radical mechanism of coal-based reaction is given below here. See here, in the step 1, what happens? This 2 moles of sodium acetate, undergo dissociation into CH3COO minus plus 2Na plus. That means 2 sodium ions along with 2 moles of acetate ions are produced, and this is the first dissociation step. In the second step, what happens? This acetate ion again loses 2 electrons. It loses 2 electrons to produce 2 acetate radicals, and these acetate radicals again they undergo decomposition or dissociation into 2 CH3 radicals, and along with the liberation of 2 moles of CO2 gas. And then what happens in the third step? These 2 methyl radicals which are produced in the second step, they undergo coupling reaction for the production of higher alkane, that is ethane at the anode side. And in the step 4, what happens? The two sodium ions which are produced in the first step, they receive 2 electrons. They gain 2 electrons which are lost by the acetate ion in the second step, and by gaining these 2 electrons, it reacts with water. To produce 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, that is NaOH, plus the liberation of hydrogen gas takes place over here. And then some of the limitations of this coal-based electrolysis method of preparations of alkanes is given over here. And see here, methane cannot be prepared by this method. By this coal-based electrolysis method, actually it is a coupling reaction mechanism, so that methane actually it is a basic alkane. It cannot be produced by the coupling reaction. Hence, it cannot be prepared by this coal-based electrolysis method of preparations of alkanes. And alkanes with even number of carbon atoms can be prepared by this coupling reaction. Only alkanes with even number of carbon atoms can be prepared, like 2, 4, 6, 8, like that. And we can't able to produce alkanes with odd number of carbon atoms, like propane and pentane and heptane, like that. And see here, after this method, what we have the another method of preparations of alkane, that is from the Wood's reaction. Wood's reaction, this is the third method of preparation of alkanes. And see here, in this Wood's reaction, this Wood's reaction can be used in the organic chemistry and organometallic chemistry and in polymers also. It is also a kind of coupling reactions, and then the mechanism begins with this single electron transfer. The whole mechanism depends on this single electron transfer which takes place from the sodium metal to the alkyl halide. So sodium metal to the alkyl halide, which makes them dissociates to form a alkyl radical and sodium halide salt, which makes to form alkyl radical along with sodium halide salt. Another molecule of sodium performs another single electron transfer to the alkyl radical to form a nucleophilic carbon ion, and the carbon ion then attacks another molecule of alkyl halide. What happens? This carbon ion again attacks another molecule of alkyl halide in a nucleophilic substitution reaction, that is SN2 reaction, to form the final coupled product, and another molecule of sodium halide salt. And this is the actual mechanism which is involved in the Wood's reaction. See the general reaction equation given over here. See here, when alkane 2 moles of alkane is taken along with 2 moles of sodium metal in the presence of dry ether, what happens? Higher alkane is prepared, that is R and R dash, along with sodium halide. And then see another example over here, in which ethyl chloride when taken in 2 moles, see here it has typed by mistake. Here also ethyl chloride is present. When ethyl chloride and sodium metal is taken in 2 moles in the presence of dry ether, what happens? N-butane is produced along with 2 moles of NaCl, salt, that is salt. And then see here we have another example over here, in which 2 moles of methyl iodide when treated with 2 moles of sodium metal in the presence of dry ether, it will leads to the production of an air alkane called ethane, and then it will also leads to the formation of 2 moles of NaBr, that is sodium bromide. And then another example is given over here. When ethyl iodide, 2 moles of ethyl iodide is taken along with 2 moles of sodium metal in the presence of dry ether, what happens? The N-butane is produced along with 2 moles of sodium bromide, and the sodium metal is extensively used in this Wood's reaction actually, but other metals like argentinum and copper may also be used in this in a finely divided state, that is powdered state, in the place of sodium metal. And then after these preparations of alkanes, we have the chemical reactivity. Of alkanes. Actually, as I told you earlier, these alkanes are inert in nature, and alkanes are stable molecules. As I told you earlier, they are inert in nature, and they are stable molecule due to the presence of CC and CH sigma bonds. Single sigma bonds, and these bonds are not easily broken by oxidizing agents like K2Cr2O7 and KMNO4, etc. And this inertness of alkanes can be shown by the following points. See, observe these points over here. these are not affected by the acids like HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, and sulfuric acid, and also bases like sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. And the carbon atoms in alkanes do not possess a lone pair, hence they won't react with the Lewis acids. What are Lewis acids actually? According to Lewis theory, the Lewis acids are the electron pair acceptors. They are the electron pair acceptors, but these alkanes, they won't possess lone pairs of electrons on them, and they won't like to donate any electron pairs to the Lewis acids, hence they won't react with the Lewis acids. And there is a normal tetrahedral angle of 109 degrees and 28 minutes in alkanes, and then the molecules are not under strain as there is no deviation from the normal tetrahedral angle. Due to this, alkanes are quite stable. They are quite stable molecules, as they are not under the strain. They are quite stable molecules. And then see here, both carbon and carbon hydrogen sigma bonds are very strong in nature. They are very strong in nature. Thus, collisions of alkane molecules with other reagents at room temperature do not provide sufficient energy to break those bonds in between them to participate in the presence of UV light or higher temperatures, or when heat is applied, these collisions may provide sufficient energy and it causes the breaking of bonds in between them homolytically to produce free radicals, which enables them to react with each other. And then however, under suitable conditions, alkanes may undergo substitution reactions. They undergo substitution reactions and oxidation reactions. They undergo substitution and oxidation reactions. See the free radical substitution reactions of alkanes over here. Take an example of halogenation reaction over here. What is halogenation reaction actually? A halogenation reaction is a chemical reaction between a substance and a halogen, in which one or more halogen atoms are incorporated into or added into or substituted into the molecules of a substance. That is a halogenation reaction. And what is the halogenation of alkanes? Actually, what is the halogenation of alkanes? See here, halogenation of alkanes produces a hydrocarbon derivative in which one or more halogen atoms are substituted for hydrogen atoms. These halogen atoms, they replace hydrogen atoms which are present on the alkanes, and this is the halogenation of alkanes. See here, a general reaction is given over here, in which alkane, when treated with halogen molecule in heat or sunlight, then it will produce the halogenated alkane and hydrogen halide. And see the order of reactivity of halogens for this halogenation of alkanes over here. The fluorine molecule, which is more reactive actually. The fluorine molecule is more reactive than the chlorine molecule, and chlorine is more reactive than the bromine, and bromine is more reactive than the iodine. And in case of iodine, the reaction is extremely slow. It is a very slow reaction and does not seem to take place because iodination is an endothermic reaction, and delta H in this case is positive, as this reaction needs somewhat heat to be supplied. And while fluorination and chlorination and bromination reactions are exothermic, means heat releasing reactions, and in case of these reactions, delta H is negative. And see the chlorination of methane by substitution over here. In this chlorination of methane, see the statement over here. Methane and chlorine when heated up to a high temperature in the presence of light reacts as follows. They will react as follows. When methane molecule is treated with chlorine molecule in the presence of sunlight, it will gives rise monochloromethane along with hydrochloric acid. And when it is treated with excess chlorine molecules, then it will lead to the formation of dichloromethane along with hydrochloric acid. When again these are dichloromethane treated with another Cl2 molecule, that is chlorine molecule, in the presence of sunlight, it will leads to the formation of chloroform along with the formation of hydrochloric acid. And when this chloroform is again treated with the excess chlorine molecule in the presence of sunlight, it will gives rise to carbon tetrachloride along with hydrochloric acid. And then the mechanism of this reaction takes place in 3 steps. This mechanism takes place in 3 steps actually. See here what are those steps. They are given over here. And the first step is chain initiation step. In the first step, what we can observe, the chlorine and chlorine bond, the bond in between chlorine atoms of elemental chlorine undergoes homolytic fission when irradiated with the UV light or sunlight, and this process yields 2 chlorine atoms. This yields 2 chlorine atoms. They are also called as chlorine free radicals. And see here, equation of this statement is given over here, in which the homolytic fission of chlorine molecule takes place like this, and one of the electron in this bond shifted to this chlorine molecule, and another electron will be shifted on this chlorine molecule. And then what happens, in the presence of this sunlight, two chlorine free radicals are produced. And in the second step, what happens, the second step is chain propagation step. In this propagation step, what happens, a chlorine radical abstracts a hydrogen atoms. It receives a hydrogen atom from the methane molecule. See here, in this reaction, you can observe clearly, in which this chlorine radical will abstract a hydrogen from the methane molecule to produce a methyl radical. See here, a methyl radical is produced on the product side along with the formation of hydrochloric acid. And then the methyl radical in turn abstracts a chlorine atom from the chlorine molecule, and then chloromethane is formed. What happens, this methyl radical which is formed in the first step, that will abstract a chlorine radical from the chlorine molecule in this step. And what happens, the formation of chloromethane. See here, in this diagram, in place of one chloromethane formation takes place over here, and another chlorine radical is produced. Along with the chloromethane, another chlorine radical is also formed, and the second step of propagation is also regenerates a chlorine atom. By this second step, what happens, it regenerates a chlorine atom, and these steps repeats many times until the termination occurs. These steps they repeat again and again until the termination of reaction will occur. And then what happens, see here, the reaction does not stop at this step actually, and however, because of the chlorinated methane product can react with additional chlorine atoms or chlorine radicals or chlorine molecules to produce polychlorinated products. Means many chlorine atoms are present in the that alkane. And see here, when methyl chloromethane is again treated with chlorine molecule in the presence of sunlight, it will produce dichloromethane along with HCl. And dichloromethane, when treated with excess chlorine molecules in the presence of sunlight, it will produce CHCl3, that is chloroform, along with the production of HCl. And when chloroform is treated with excess chlorine atoms in the presence of sunlight, it will produce carbon tetrachloride along with hydrochloric acid, And then see the final step, that is the chain termination step over here. This is the chain termination step, means the ending of the reaction takes place over here. And in this termination reaction, the termination takes place when a chlorine atom reacts with the another chlorine atom. When a chlorine radical will react with the another chlorine radical to produce a chlorine molecule, which is shown in this reaction over here. Or else chlorine atom may react with methyl radical to form a chloromethane, like this. In this reaction, chlorine atom may react with the methyl radical to produce chloromethane. This may also leads to the termination of that reaction. And then there may be another probability of termination over here, in which the methyl radical which in turn again reacts with the another methyl radical to form a higher alkane, that is ethane over here. By this reaction also, what happens, termination of this reaction takes place, but it is a very minor pathway actually. And by controlling the reaction conditions, and by controlling the reaction conditions means what, the temperature provided, or sunlight which is provided, or heat which is supplied, by controlling these conditions, and the ratio of chlorine to methane, by controlling these ratios of chlorine to methane, and the conditions of reactions, it is possible to favor the formation of one or another of the possible chlorinated methane products. Means if we want chloromethane as a excessive product, we can modify these reaction conditions and ratios of chlorine to methane to produce a favored product. This is about today's session, and I thank Gurukulam for giving such an opportunity, and also I would like to thank Principal Sir KP Nirikshan Rao Sir, and also I would like to thank Gopal Sir DL in chemistry for encouraging me to give such a live lecture on in these pandemic conditions. And once again, bye one and all, and thank you one and all.